Om. 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 Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudirayet. Just give me a minute. So we were on verse number 31. Yajnashishtamritabhujo yanti brahma sanatanam nayam lokostya yajnasya kutonya kuru sattama. So, one second. So, Kuru Sattama, O best among the Kurus, Yajna Shishta Amrita Bhujaha, those who partake of the nectar that is left over after the Yajna, Sanatanam Brahma, eternal Brahman, Yanti, reach. Ajnayasya, for the one who does not perform Yajna, Ayajnasya, yeah? Ayam, this lokaha, world, na asti, is not. Anyaha, another, kutaha, how. So, O best among the Kurus, those who partake of the nectar that is left over after the yajna, reach the eternal Brahman. For the one who does not perform yajna, nothing is gained in this world. How then can anything be gained in any other world? Any yajna that is performed has a result. Amrita, nectar. Here means the prasada, the result, whatever is shishta, left over after the offering is made in the yajna. And those who enjoy or partake of the results of these various yajnas are called Yajna Shishta Amrita Bhujas in this verse. And what do they gain by performing these religious duties? By performing these religious disciplines, they gain steadiness and purity of mind, which enables them to enjoy a certain composure and tranquility. And if they are seekers, mumukshus, this kind of mind will help them gain the self knowledge they are pursuing. Whether or not the person is a mumukshu, there is always a result in the form of punya when a yajna is performed. Whatever this punya can give them, either in this life or future ones, it will give them. But moksha can only be gained if the person is a mumukshu, a seeker. So that is why that pillar, the fourth pillar of knowledge, which is what? Mumukshutvam, is so important. So it is not just enough if we have viveka, vairagya, shamadhi, shat sampatti. It's very important for us to have mumukshutvam. Because unless we have that, we will only end up getting punya. And this punya is what is binding us to the samsara. We might be a very ethical person, very downright dharmic. But unless we have this mumukshutvam, and we see it in the truest sense. That's why maturity needs to come with self-inquiry. We're not only looking at being an ethical person, we're looking at being a seeker. So, since we're talking about karma yogis here, the word yoginaha having been used previously, the people referred to in this verse will naturally be mumukshus. Because as per Bhagavad Gita, yoga is karma yoga. Karma yogis are those that have chosen the lifestyle of being a karma yogi. While performing what they have to do, they seek knowledge. Being desirous of moksha, such people will gain the kind of mind that can inquire productively. In other words, their inquiry will bear fruit. They will gain eternal Brahman. Yanti Brahma Sanatanam. Inquiry implies time. The word yanti here means they go to or they reach Brahman. Both going and reaching indicating time, kala. Even though Brahman is the very nature of oneself, to say that Brahman will be reached implies that an inquiry must be conducted, for which some time is required. Enjoying the result of the yajna, a purified or steady mind, they inquire and gain the knowledge of Brahman. This is the only way people can go to or reach Brahman. The knower of Brahman being non-separate from Brahman, Atma already being Brahman, knowledge of this fact alone makes seekers gain Brahman. So reaching Brahman is what? You are Brahman. You don't need to reach anywhere. You just have to understand. You just have to know. You just have to realize. Brahman is not an object of perception. It is me. It is I. It is you. So it is to be understood. And how is that knowledge gained? Why does that take time? It takes time because to purify the mind, number one. The knower of a thing does not usually become that thing. For example, the knower of microbiology does not become the microbes that he knows. Just give me 1 second, yeah? So the knower of a thing does not usually become that thing. For example, the knower of microbiology does not become the microbes that he knows, nor does the knower of history become history. In such instances, the knower is always different from what he knows. Whereas in the famous story of the 10th man, the knower of the 10th man is the 10th man. If I am the 10th man and I am also seeking the 10th man, then as the knower of the 10th man, I become the 10th man. I am the 10th man. And because I left myself out of the counting, I found the 10th man missing. When someone tells me, hey, you are the 10th man, I gain the knowledge of the 10th man as myself alone. Thus, the knower of the 10th man is indeed the 10th man. That is how knowing Brahman is not, it's not an object. It is you. It is I. So each one of us is that so-called 10th man. It's just that we have forgotten. It is a case of misidentity. It's a case of avidya. It's a case of forgetfulness. Which is why Gurudev says, the reason we are miserable, the reason we go through all this rut in the world is because we have forgotten our true nature. We have forgotten that we are the 10th man. We've forgotten that we are Brahman. So, again and again, exposing ourselves to this knowledge, cleansing our mind at the same time, living a life of karma yoga, and then we wait with that infinite patience for knowledge to dawn. But it requires a degree of commitment. So therefore, the knower of Brahman becomes Brahman. In certain instances then, where the knower and the object known are identical, the knower of the object is the very object known. Like for example, even dream. The dreamer and the waker. In the dream, we are so identified with whatever is going on in the dream. And we think all that is real. We get a nightmare. But the moment you wake up, where does the dreamer merge? He merges with the knower, with the waker. Similarly, it is like we are all in an eternal dream. Knowledge is waking up to the fact that we are nothing but Brahman. So in certain instances then, when the knower and the object known are identical, the knower of the object is the very object known. Whereas, where the object is separate, the knower of the object is different from the object. Here, Brahman is myself, Atma. Therefore, the knower of Brahman becomes Brahman, which is the peculiarity of this particular knowledge. The word yajna is used because knowing has to take place. The seekers have to know Brahman. Moksha cannot be gained simply by performing yajna. Knowledge of Brahman has to be gained, the gaining of which is moksha. Shankara makes it very clear in his commentary that the verb gains is used here to indicate that an inquiry has to be conducted, which involves time, and that through this inquiry, those who are mumukshus will gain eternal Brahman. Sanatanam Brahmayanti. The use of praise and criticism in the Gita. A common method of presenting the teaching found throughout the Gita is demonstrated in this verse. The use of stuti, praise, followed by the use of ninda or criticism. Praise is of the knowledge or the shastra. The teacher and the student are also praised. Even the result is praised. To praise the jnani is in fact to praise the result, moksha. Ninda or criticism is done for no other reason than to create vairagya in the student to what is inimical to the vision and to create a proper interest in this vision and therefore a stronger commitment to it. I'm not sure whether we can liken this to what Patanjali Maharshi says about vipaksha bhavane pratipaksha bhavana, where you know what you will get if you don't do this, if you don't follow this, and therefore you do the opposite, like you take the other path. So if you don't follow discipline, what will be the outcome? The outcome will be more misery. So therefore you get on to discipline. Similarly here, Krishna is using ninda as a means to disallow or discourage people from going onto this path of doing what is that? Ayagnya, not performing yagnya. So that it creates vairagya in the student to what is inimical to the vision and to create a proper interest in this vision and therefore a stronger commitment. People may come to the study with lukewarm enthusiasm. I think this is how most of us, in our culture, they would say, if you don't do this, this is what will happen. So they bring out what will happen if you don't do that to create that little fear in us doing the right thing. There will not be any logical understanding or reasoning for that, but that is what they would say. Just to make sure that to discourage us from doing the wrong thing. It's likewise here. So many examples. One, of course, is very simple. We would be told not to cut nails in the night. Of course, that we know now, because in the olden days, they didn't have lights beyond the sun, apart from the sun. And therefore, in the night, when you cut your nails, you don't know where they'll fly here and there. Same thing. When you go to the barber's shop and come back, you're supposed to take a bath. Also, if you don't do this, this is what will happen. Right now, I'm not getting things to my mind. Maybe others can share.
Cutting nails, what is it? You were saying something? Cutting
No, we were asked, when we were children, not to cut nails. Yes. On particular days, like for example, Tuesday, my mother would say not to cut nails. And also not to cut nails in the night.
Yes, that is correct. Yeah.
So that scientifically you can understand, reason it out that in the context when it was told, time and context, it was because at that time there was no light apart from the sun. So beyond sunset, it's all dark. And then you never know where the nails will get into. So that is the reason why probably they said not to cut nails in the night. But now when we have lights and lamps and everything throughout the day, it makes no real sense. So that is fine. But what I'm trying to, give examples of is those things that we were told not to do, just so that they discourage us from doing the wrong thing.
Yeah, cutting hair on Tuesdays and even beauty parlors, they don't cut in India on Tuesdays.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know what that link is from between Tuesday and the hair, but
That is amangala, mangal kardin, you cut your hair, it's not good.
Even washing of the hair on Tuesday, I think.
See, that becomes
That is on Monday. For us, not cutting nails and hair on Saturday was not allowed.
Mm,
There must be some reason, definitely. We don't
correct.
really know.
No, basically, see, the point is to give you the opposite so that you are discouraged from doing it. Likewise, here in Vedanta, here what Krishna is saying, he's saying, if you don't do this, you will not get this world, nothing in this world, neither in the next world. So, what is the use of you doing this? So, people may come to the study with lukewarm enthusiasm. To stoke this mild enthusiasm into a burning desire to know, the Gita employs both criticism and praise, Ninda and Stuti. Stuti always coming first. Thus, wherever you find Stuti, you will find Ninda later. Here in this verse, then, the result, the phala, is stated first. They gain eternal Brahman. This means that the performance of such discipline, sacrifices, and prayers is productive in that it will indirectly help you gain the knowledge of Brahman. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Krishna says later, even a little bit of this path you get onto, it will save you from the worst fear. Trayate mahato bhayat. That is why, see, all the terrorists and all those people who've taken who've been transformed, what it took for them was one small step. Where was that? Whatever taste you already have for them, whatever degree of commitment you have towards performing them, is further increased by presenting them against the background of what your lot will be if you do not perform them. This is the second line of the verse. This is done in the second line. Only when contrasted against stuti, praise, can ninda, criticism, be properly understood. A child, for example, should be praised or congratulated when he or she deserves it, and judiciously chided when necessary. Very important, this sentence, because these days parents are overly showering praises even when it's not required. When you're just doing it mechanically, it loses its value. They keep saying, oh, good job, good job. Because being a pediatrician, I meet with lots of parents.
When Gurudev says, have to, little bit of scolding is necessary.
Yeah.
When they become big, they have to, face criticism and all that. That time
Correct.
they'll get depressed.
Yeah. Correct. It's like the little doses of vaccination. Vaccination are given in small doses, but they protect the body against the disease that they are vaccinated for. Similarly, that little bit of strictness, that little bit of reprimanding is required. When required, of course. You will not do it when it's not required. So judiciously chided when necessary, to bring the balance. Otherwise, it will go out of balance. So when you tell a child what he or she has done right, then when you point out what is wrong, the child will understand. This psychology is seen uniformly throughout the Gita. First, there is praise, and then immediately afterwards comes Ninda. In this verse, the importance of the yajna is easily understood because of this method of stuti and ninda. Those who perform the various yajnas already presented, and a few others found in the Veda and other Shastras that back up the Veda, gain Brahman. And those who perform none of these prayerful disciplines do not gain anything, Such a person is called ayajna, one who performs no yajna. See, that's why even eating food needs to be prayerful. That is why the importance of saying a prayer before eating food. I mean, basically bringing in that attitude of prayer. Even a person going to the gym, if he does it as a yajna, that itself is a yajna for him. A person going to the gym just for the sake of gymming and building a body versus a person going to the gym with with a with a prayerful attitude of taking care of this body, which is a temple. It's only a matter of change in attitude. The importance of a proper attitude and discipline. This world that is commonly shared by everyone has certain things to give, from simple pleasure to the joy of maturity. But if there is no discipline, the world has nothing for you. Ayam lo kahanasti. If you do not have a prayerful attitude and discipline, the world can give you only bumps and potholes, nothing else. When your back is in trouble, even a small bump becomes excruciatingly painful. Without having a certain attitude, there are a lot of bumps in life, a lot of situations and events that you find you cannot swallow and that are not very pleasant. Without a proper attitude, how are you going to face them? And what are you going to accomplish without discipline? Even material success is not possible. Thus, it is said here that even this world, ayam lokaha, which holds out certain joys to everyone, cannot be had by the ayajna. Even small joys are not available for such a person. Where then is the possibility of any other world, anya lokaha, for you? No other world is possible. And where is the guarantee that you will be born again as a human being? All you can do is wait for another set of karmas to give you a human body and another chance to make better use of it. This is a clarion call, wake up call. If you cannot gain what this world has to offer, how can you hope to gain another world? Kutaha anyaha. Any other world, a better life, a better world of experience like heaven and so on requires punya and therefore sadhana, meaning rituals and prayer, special meditations and good acts, all of which are possible only when you have discipline. Therefore, there is no other loka available for you without prayerful discipline in some form or the other. So forget about Brahman, even the joys in this world. Because why? Without that discipline, without proper attitude, you will be kicked like a yo-yo, like a football. All those 5 knowledge points, the reverse of which will come true. First of all, number 1, you will not see things, opposite values being complementary. You will continue to see intention behind others' mistakes. You continue to be a football of others' opinions. And of course, you will not accept people and situations as they are. Why? Because you are only going with one-track mind. Your likes and dislikes. No discipline. No proper attitude. And of course, you're living a life without awareness. So where is the present moment? Being inevitable. You'll keep questioning the present moment. Why? Why? How did it happen? Why did she say this to me? So we'll keep reeling in the why. So a bit of discipline and a bit of proper attitude is the first step. So eternal Brahman, Sanatanam Brahma, is what is to be gained in life, and For the person without discipline, it is very far away indeed. Thus, if even this world is not there for him, then what to talk of eternal Brahman? Even in Ashtavakra Gita, the first thing, even this knowledge needs to be given to whom? To someone who has some bit of discipline. Bodily discipline, discipline of speech, and discipline of the mind. Otherwise, no one will come anywhere close to the knowledge. Even having come to the knowledge, rather than it be lukewarm enthusiasm, to strengthen that commitment, this use of Ninda is used in Shastra. So that you know what is the outcome of not doing it. Therefore, your enthusiasm to do what you're supposed to do, that is the yajna, becomes even more stronger. Even enjoyment requires a certain attitude and discipline. One may make money, but to enjoy what one has, there must be a certain attitude for which some education is required. The person who does not have a proper attitude always postpones the enjoyment of what he or she has, thinking, when I get such and such, it will be wonderful. Then I will enjoy. But when such and such is gained, the person does not feel wonderful at all. And the postponement begins all over again. Something else has to be gained over and over again. Happiness point, no? We keep postponing our happiness. If the discipline is not there, if the prayerful attitude is not there, if the values are not there, you cannot really get anything. Whereas if you have discipline, even if you have no money, you can gain a lot. It costs nothing to enjoy the stars, for instance. Like this, there are a lot of things to be enjoyed that do not require money. All kinds of books are available from public libraries. You need never buy a book, in fact. Without money, you can always borrow a book, read on any topic and enjoy. Whereas with money, but without the proper mind, what can you enjoy? All enjoyments require a mind after all. If the mind is always concerned with the future and has no glad acceptance of what is, where is the question of any enjoyment for the person? All go-getters are futuristic people who do not enjoy what they have. This futuristic attitude motivates them to do all kinds of things, and then they rationalize their behavior by saying they are success-oriented people. But what value does such success have when they cannot enjoy what they have? I'll read this para again. So, if you have money, doesn't mean you're enjoying, because you need a proper attitude and a bit of discipline in order to enjoy what you have. Because you might just keep postponing your happiness. You're not satisfied with what you've gained. You're looking into the future again. When I get that, then I'll be happy. You got what you wanted, but still, are you happy? No. When I get this next step, then I'll be happy. So, if the discipline is not there, if the prayerful attitude is not there, if the values are not there, see, what do you value? Do you value your inner calm, inner peace, that security that you are? Or do you value the money? Do you value the external world, what the external world gives? Do you value peace of mind or pieces that the world gives? So the values are important. So it's not just discipline, prayerful attitude, and values, the value system. Whereas if you have discipline, even if you have no money, you can gain a lot. It costs nothing to enjoy the stars. Everything in nature is free for us. Sunlight, air, the air we breathe. I know some places, water we have to pay money, but that's the sad state of affairs. But air we breathe, you don't pay tax, you don't pay money for it. The vast sky that is up there, all of nature. You don't need to pay tax to see all this and enjoy. Same thing, Swamiji gives example of a book. It costs you nothing to enjoy the stars. Like this, there are a lot of things to be enjoyed that do not require money. All kinds of books are available from public libraries. You need never buy a book. In fact, without money, you can always borrow a book, read on any topic and enjoy. Whereas with money, but without the proper attitude, without the proper mind, what can you enjoy? All enjoyments require a mind after all. You're only worried about your yoga and kshema. You want to get more security from the world and you want to protect what you've got. All the time is taken up by these two things, these two activities. So if the mind is always concerned with the future and has no glad acceptance of what is, where is the question of any enjoyment for the person? All go-getters are futuristic people who do not enjoy what they have. It motivates them to do all kinds of things. And then they rationalize their behavior by saying they are success-oriented people. But what value does such success have when they cannot enjoy what they have? They're forever moving, thinking what next, without savoring the present. Success should necessarily be viewed from two standpoints. What one gets out of this life is one type of success, and what one accomplishes is another. The first one, that is, what one gets out of life, is the one that really counts. For one who has no discipline, life will not even yield small gains. And as for eternal Brahman, it will be very far away indeed. From this verse, then we understand that yajna is definitely to be done. What is the verse in chapter 18 that Krishna says? Yajna dana tapah karma na tyajet. Don't leave doing yajna, dana and tapa. These three things have to be done. You cannot take recourse to non-action, inaction. Krishna then concludes this section by saying, Evam bahuvidha yajna vitata brahmano mukhe karmajan vidhitan sarvan evam jnatva vimokshase. Brahmanaha of the Veda, mukhe in the mouth or words, evam in this manner, bahuvidhaha many and varied, yajnaha religious disciplines, vitataha are very elaborately mentioned, tan them, sarvan all, karmajan born of karma, vidhi understand, evam thus, jnatva knowing, vimokshase you will be liberated. Brahmanaha mukhe evam bahuvidha yajnaha vitatah tan sarvan karmajan vidhi evam jnatva vimokshase. In this manner, many and varied yajnas, religious disciplines, are very elaborately mentioned in the words of the Veda. Understand them all to be born of karma and therefore anatma. Knowing thus, you will be liberated. So, having said all of this, he's saying, know that they're all born of karma. Again, because born of karma, do you stop doing it? No, we have to do it. Why? Because they are required to steady the mind, to cleanse the mind. Here, Krishna sums up this section on the various religious disciplines, all of which are karma. In karma, he had said, the wise person sees only akarma. Then he talked about rituals and other forms of yajna in order to present the knowledge that Atma, the self, is akarta, a non-doer. He also mentioned these disciplines because they are useful in the form of disciplines themselves in addition to bringing about Antakarana Shuddhi. Time, what is ultimately to be gained through all of them is the knowledge of Atma as Akarta, as Brahman. The word Brahma in the present verse refers to the Veda, in whose pages or words the various types of religious practices already discussed are very elaborately detailed. Now Krishna says, understand all these religious disciplines to be born of karma. Tan sarvan karmajan vidhi. Ja is born. So karmajan vidhi. Karmajan, born of karma, vidhi. Whereas whether they are physical actions, kayika karmas, oral, vachika karmas, or mental, manasa karmas, they are all born of a certain activity on the part of the doer, karta. For this reason, they are all called karmajas. Born of this threefold karma, they are anitya and therefore are only anatma. So one may argue, if they're anatma, why are we doing it? Why are we doing it? To gain that steadiness of mind, purity of mind. Can Atma be a doer? And who is the doer, the karta here? The disciplines are karmajas, born of karma, but atmajas, that is not born of Atma. This means they are born out of the instruments, karanas alone, born of the antakarana, the mind, and the vagendriya, the organ of speech, and the karmendriyas, the organs of action. They are either born purely of the mind or of the mind with the help of the senses and organs of action. Therefore, the karta can only be the body-mind-sense complex, the karya-karana sanghata. This verse is a very interesting one. It has confused a lot of people, as we see by some of the interpretations, English translations, and commentaries that have been written on it. Having said that the religious disciplines are presented in the Veda and that they are all born of action, Krishna then says that knowing this, you will be liberated. How can this be? How can you be liberated? By understanding that these karmas are born of various activities performed by the physical limbs, organs of speech, or mind. The point to be clearly understood here is that these disciplines are not born of Atma. One has to go back to the statement, Karmani akarmaya pashyet. And remember that Krishna is summing up here. To make this point clear, Shankara glosses the word karmajan as anatmajan and says that, understand that all of these are born of anatma. Tan sarvan anatmajan vidhi. The physical body, deha, is anatma, as are the mind and all the indriyas, the organs of perception and the organs of action, which include the organ of speech. This is why Shankara uses the word anatmajan. Karmajan means anatmajan, born of anatma alone. They are all anatma because they are karmas, objects for you, the atma. Here in the statement and the following paragraph, Swamiji uses the word karma to mean karma karaka, the object of a transitive verb as used in grammar, and does not mean action as it has been used all along. The physical body is not the karta, it is only karma, itself being an object. The karma is an object for the subject, the atma. And the subject, atma, is not subject to objectification. Being a karma, the physical body is anatma. It is not atma. It is an object, not the subject. The disciplines are born out of the physical body, the organ of speech, and the mind, all of which are objects, anatma, for you, atma, the subject. Therefore, karmajan means anatmajan. And Shankara makes it very clear that this fact is to be well understood. Once you understand that these disciplines are born out of anatma and not out of atma, you know that atma, the self, is akarta, free of any type of activity. nirvyapara, free from any action. We need only to see that the disciplines are born of anatma for it to become evident that they are not born of atma. All the karmas elaborately detailed in the pages of the Veda, some of which are mentioned here, are anatmajas, born of anatma alone. They are born out of karya karana sanghata, the body mind sense complex. And since they are anatmajas, we understand that atma is not the karta. This vision is called karmani akarma darshanam, seeing akarma even when a karma is performed. When the doer is negated, action and its results are also negated. So we'll just do this part here, okay? So we have seen earlier in this chapter how even as one performs karma, the karta is negated, everything being Brahman. Brahmarpanam Brahmahavihi Brahmagnau Brahmanahutam. The other karakas, the object of action, the means of action, the purpose of action, from whence the action comes, and the location in which the action takes place are all nullified along with the karta. Even though the karakas are seemingly there, their reality is nullified by negating the contention that they are divisions between them and Brahman. This negation is called sublation, sublating the reality of division as such, seeing that there is no division whatsoever. Knowing Atma as Akarta, knowing the Karya Karana Sanghata to be the doer, knowing that the doer is Atma, but Atma is not the doer, one is liberated from all karma and karma phala, Ashubha. Ashubha means that which is not auspicious, that which is not good for you. Thus, as Shankara says in his commentary on this verse, you are liberated from inauspicious karma phala, which includes both punya and papa. Ashubha khyat karma phalat vimokshase. Liberation from bondage through knowledge. This liberation can also be expressed in terms of release from samsara. You are released from the bondage of samsara, which is due to ignorance about Atma being akarta. The moment you take Atma, the self, as karta, samsara is born and you become a samsari. Knowledge of Atma as akarta is the clear vision, samyak darshana, of Atma as it is. Knowing this, you will be freed from all karmas and karma phalas, which is what samsara is all about. Karma phala is what accounts for a given birth, janma, during which there is again karma and therefore more karma phala accrue to you, which results in yet another birth. This cycle continues until you come out of its orbit by knowing that you are not the doer. As Shankara puts it in the last line of his commentary, you know that all the activities that you perform are not your activities. You know that you are nirvyapara, free from all activities, and that you perform no action whatsoever. Knowledge that I'm not the doer does not imply indifference. Knowing that you are nirvyapara does not mean that you are indifferent to everything or that you do not exert yourself, which is sometimes how the word nirvyapara is understood. That I am devoid of activities is a fact, whereas to not exert myself is a condition of laziness. Shankara defines nirvyapara as udasina, meaning here that Atma is always the sakshi, a witness who never gets involved in activity. Thus, without me, no activity can take place, but at the same time, I am indifferent to all activities, meaning that I am independent of all activities. When you say I am indifferent, there is definitely a karta involved, an attitude of doership,
But here, Atma is purely the Sakshi, the witness. It does not perform any action. When this is your vision of yourself, Atma, you will be mukta, free from the bondage of samsara. Samsara bandhanat vimokshase. Seeing doership in the self, Atmani kartritva darshana, is the only cause for bondage. There is no other. If you see doership in the Atma, meaning that you take yourself to be a doer, then there will be samsara for you. And if you take yourself to be a non-doer, you are free, released from the bondage of samsara. This is the only difference there is between bondage and liberation, as this verse makes clear. In the next verse, Krishna goes on to praise the knowledge that is liberation. I know I did a continuous read. We'll do this one more time tomorrow. Let's share what we've understood from this learning and reading. Yajna shishtamritabhujo yanti brahma sanatanam nayam lokosya yajnasya kutonya kuru sattama. That was verse 31. And then verse 32 was all about summing up this knowledge, this yajnas, and saying that it is born of karmajan or anatmajan. Evam bahuvida yajna vitata brahmano mukhe karmajan vidhitan sarvan evam jnatva vimokshase. So all of this, these yajnas, bahuvida yajna, starting from that ritual, Brahma Arpanam, Brahma Havihi, and then offering food as a yajna. And doing anything, including yoga, pranayama, tapas, jnana yajna, tapo yajna, swadhya yajna. Then you have the pranayama and food. How much to eat, what to eat, when to say no. And food is not just physical food that we feed the stomach, also anything that enters the sense organs. So all that bundled up is karmajan vidhi, is all born of anatma. Knowing this, one will be liberated. So basically coming to the space of non-doership, the sakshi bhav. It's not like simply, just knowing that all this is born of karma, you'll be liberated. Makes no sense. Then everybody should be liberated souls. They just know that all this is from. No. But coming to that space of non-doership, that Atma, all this is Atma, but Atma is none of this. We'll stop here. Anyone wants to share before we close? Om Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tat Sat Shri Krishna Arpanamastu. Jai Gurudev.
एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्म निर्गुणं निश्चलं निर्विकारम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्मा अत्र वेदान्तमेव प्रमाणम् बोधक सद्गुरु तत्त्वनिष्ठः ईश्वरानुगृहीतेन वेद्यम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्म ज्ञानगम्यं तुरीयं हृदयस्थम् आत्मरूपं हि तथ्येन ज्ञातम् सोऽध्वनः पारमाप्नोति सत्यम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्म ब्रह्मज्ञस्य तु ब्रह्मैव सर्वम् नास्ति मोहो भयं नैव दुःखम् तस्य स्वानन्दमग्नं हि चित्तम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्म निर्गुणं निश्चलं निर्विकारम् एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्म एकमेवाद्वितीयं ये ब्रह्म ब्रह्मैव सत्यम्